Hello, welcome, or welcome back. My name is Livranka, and today we're gonna be continuing our adventures in code formatting, okay? So I'm gonna go into my folder and open up the file we've been working on. Avto-Fmat.Py and switch the view to the editor. Okay, good. So, the first thing I did when I started this out, I said, okay, I've never done this before, so let's just sketch it out. Sketch it out, do it in the most naive way possible, and see which problems arise. Now, obviously, one could just copy and paste someone else's code and just modify that, but that's not so fun, right? We want to learn a little bit while we're at it. So I said, okay, let's just go through with it. And this original piece took me, I don't know, about 12 hours or something like that. It was a good start, but this is Python, right? This is Python, and you generally don't want to be doing things in the global scope. Now, in my case, you know, I don't have the dislike for it. Matter of fact, I'd rather just do everything in the global scope. But you know that people will criticize me and say I'm not a good programmer if I do those kinds of things. So let's. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what happens. Basically, it's my plan here. So as you can see, we have a bunch of globals. Perfectly normal, right? These are values that I used all throughout the code. And then we have this class. And really the difference between doing it in local scope, at least as long as Python is concerned, the real difference between just doing it in global scope, for this particular program I mean, doing it in global scope against doing it inside functions or inside a whole big class is basically the how you share values, right? Because if you have a function and you want to modify a global value, you generally have to say you have some func here, right? What you generally have to do is global that particular name, and then you can modify it. This is a string, so actually, oops, say something like that. Then you can modify it. Generally speaking, there are some exceptions, I believe, with lists and dictionaries. You don't have this problem, I believe. I don't remember. That's I knew it at one point, and I really don't like that. I come from a C background, so of course I wouldn't like that. Plain C, not C++. And you know, doing things in in Bash or things like that, and you usually just you have your values, and basically the file is the scope. And if you need a function and that function has its own scope, that's all well and good, but the only things you put in that particular scope is what's limited to that scope. Everything else, if it needs to be shared, it's not that terrible of a compromise when and only when that program is self-contained. And what do I mean by that? It runs by itself, okay? So it's not so this file is not something you would import as a module. Are we clear on that? This is not something you would import as a module. This is a standalone. So in that sense, actually having a class is the worst thing we could be doing. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of the class. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of the class because this is what I'm doing here, just putting code that I know would work much better if I just global scoped knowing that for the use case that this file has, that's all well and good. Putting all of that in a class, as if this were, I don't know, Java or C# or something like that, it's counterproductive. That's the only thing that can be said. This is counterproductive because we don't need any of this. We don't. And so let's cloverscope. Let's be real, okay? So I'm going to do that. And I am going to show you so you might suffer. Alright, okay? So, why is object-oriented programming bad? It isn't. It has its use case. But the thing is, the culture around it is bad. The culture around it is basically doing things just because they I don't want to say in style, but I would say what's the word I'm looking for? It's commonplace, right? It's commonplace to do things in a certain way. And so, for instance, you begin a program by saying, which classes do I have to write, right? Which classes do I need for this? And a class should not be a container for values. A class should actually be more like a set of behaviors or a relationship between data and behaviors, but not a container itself. And here's the thing, if you are not going to have more than one of that type, why would you have a class? Explain that to me. Why exactly? So honestly, a lot of the a lot of the ideas just don't, they simply do not apply. That's all I'm going to say. So actually I could get rid of those self-dot with just a simple actually I'm gonna do it right now, just off screen. Give me a second. So find what, replace with, and replace all. Done. Okay, so let's just de-indent all of this. Yeah, I realize that I'm not being too clear on what I mean in respects to object-oriented programming, so I'm going to try and elaborate a little bit further as I try and fix this. I mean, say for instance, private, making attributes private. Why? Because you might make a, you might have, the private keyword and a bunch of members over here. And that's just so whenever you import that, your autocomplete will not show you those values, and if you happen to use them, the compiler will complain. But at the level of assembly, those values are visible, and you can access them anyway, from anywhere. Well, maybe not anywhere, but you can still access those values. So they are not actually private. In the like, what I mean is, I care about what's happening at the lowest level, right? I care about what's happening at, well, maybe not the lowest, but at a level low enough that I could understand it. And a lot of the time, what you see in the higher level languages is that there's a lot of concepts that apply not to how the computer works, but how the compiler works, which I think it's not a good idea, because then you're writing code around how it's interpreted by the compiler rather than what the code is doing, which is I don't know, it doesn't sound like a good idea to me. And actually I'm gonna do an auto of this file replace. Okay, so oops, let's undo that. Okay, so self and space replace all, and then self and no space replace all. Okay, good. I mean, yeah, it is. It is. It is strange, right? Of course, there is a point to writing code around it being easier to maintain. So there is, and that's where I think some object-oriented practices tend to shine, right? Um, there's an argument to be made that encapsulation, that data encapsulation, can help you a little bit with this, or at least encapsulation in the way that that I would use it. In that files that include a given header, for instance, files that are including your header, say, right, your header point h, files that are including that code do not know too much about the implementation details, or know nothing at all. There is some point to doing that. And by that I mean it's not a complete waste of time, right? It's not a complete waste of your time. It is, in my opinion, a little bit more difficult to work with encapsulated data that just work with structures that outright tell you what they are and how big they are. But there are certain programs which you really can't do it like that. There are programs in which whenever you include something, you need to know what the hell is in there. And I mean, yeah. maybe I'm old-fashioned. That's fine. So okay, we got rid of the class. Now what? Well, the first thing in order, at least, would be checking that this thing works. Oh well, there is one use case. There is one use case now that I think about it. One cool use case for classes. In that they is, at least in Python, the way I was using it here, it gives you a scope, right? So if you have something called format on the global scope, and you create a separate class in order to have a format function on there, then you wouldn't be overriding this name, right? So there is that use case, yes. But you know, it's not that important. In this particular example, if we were working on a multi-module kind of program, then yes, I would, right? In that case, I would utilize classes more, because I would need to organize the code differently. But in this case, we do not have that need, and we know that this program will be self-contained forever, because it doesn't need to interact with other modules. It works on its own. It's like what do they call that? Single responsibility, or is that something else? I don't remember. Well, anyhow, enough of this tangent. So there is a few bugs in there that I need to iron out. So the formatting is a little bit off, but this should still run. If it runs, that's good enough. So let's just run this. Let's Avto-Fmat.Py, and it doesn't run. Okay, right, because I I deleted level. Yeah. Okay, so let's fix that. Oh no, yes it is. Oh my god. Yeah, right. You see, this is the kind of thing that drives me crazy. I have to declare it as a global, yeah. I have to tell Python these are globals, yeah. Which is a problem. So we're going to do something which is probably not the best idea, but it's good enough, okay? So what I'm going to do, Well, I mean, what I'm thinking, and now I'm having second thoughts about it. What I was thinking was, I could have like a very long string declaring with the names of all the globals that I want to modify, of all the modifiable globals, and then just exec that or yeah, just exec that, right? And so you have a string, and you have, you do global, and you put in here the names of the modifiable globals, and then within a function that needs to access that, you just exec and the name of this, right? So I'm gonna call it mod glob, okay, something like that, exec mod glob. So now I'm having second thoughts about it, but I'm going to try it anyway and see if that's good enough. Okay. So lval, no, that's level. Okay. This is why I don't code in Python anymore. This is boring. This is very much boring. So there's probably a way to automate this accessing of globals. I wonder why this doesn't work. Maybe if I eval. Yeah, okay. That's not gonna work either, so right. Now we go. Okay, so I don't know why exec doesn't work there. Because I mean, you can use exec to just run an entire file. Weird. I don't know. Well, that's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do that manually. That's not too bad. So let's check the formatting here. So we have a few errors here, and I'm going to tell you what those errors are. The first one, this line is supposed to be like all of these, and for some reason it's breaking it here and adding indentation. That's not what we want. Definitely not what we want. So, what should we do? Well, the first thing to check would be, when are these new lines being added? And oops, sorry, I'm having trouble with my Windows, having to juggle a lot of things around. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is get a little bit more organized. So let's add these little tags so I can move around easier. And I'm going to name this one colon, why not? Or I could do a case, right? Yeah, because this one, yeah, I'm gonna remember that it's case, because here is where we handle labels and things like that. But I don't want to put in two of these, because that's one block. It's one block, that's good enough. And this would be let's say space new line, and over here we're handling comments. I'm gonna put a C there because we're doing a handling of comments on our previous part. I'm going to get into that in a minute. Oops. And this is chain, and I call it chain because when you have something like phone call and a parentheses and a bunch of values, I call this a chain when it needs to break like this, because the list of arguments or the expression within that parentheses is too long, and when that's too long and it needs to be breaking up, I like to call that a chain. So the name stuck now. And this is CL chain because this is a chain closer basically. And here's flush. Okay, so that's most everything. Alright. Yeah, okay. So the way that that this works, if I'm gonna do a little bit. I'm gonna add another of these tags here. So fmat, this I'm gonna call top. Okay. Alright. So we read the file in lines, right? We do a read lines. Then we join that into S, and this is because sometimes we need to look ahead, and so we need to know the next line, and this is the way that's easier for me to think about it. I'm going to lower the music volume because I cannot hear myself. So I just did it like this because it's easier for me to think about it. You could have an index for the line, right, and just look for the next line, but it's messier. If you have the whole string, that's easier. Hopefully your file is not too big, right? Hopefully your file is not a gigabyte in size, and this causes a whole bunch of problems. But you know, I know that's not going to happen for me, so that's okay. Now we strip that line, and then oh yeah, this is just checking for empty. Okay, and so here we do a little bit of processing for comments, because there's a few things that we want to do, and I can show you that. If you see this, we're adding this little tag here after every one of these separators. So this is added automatically, and if you had some text after this separator, then it will appear here, right? So simple. And so because I want to do that, in order to do this thing, I need to read the whole line and say, okay, so is this line a separator? And then do this. So the idea is that we can do some processing of the line with the whole line, right? So reading the whole line and identifying certain properties about it, and then we can go char by char and do we need to go up a level of indentation? Is this a case or whatever, things like that. And I mean, yeah, the first time around I was doing it how do you say, a line at a time, and that was that. I was not doing all of this iterating char by char, but sometimes with certain logic things, I found it easier, much more clear actually, to do it like this. And I have a bunch of reasons. So for instance, you know, when you do it like this, you can say, okay, so when I encounter a given character, I want to set some flags, and I want these flags to then, when I write to the result, a string, I want to write things differently depending on which flags are set. Basically, what this does is it lets me break for instance, break a line at some arbitrary point, set certain flags at the point where I broke the line, write that the buffer, the thing I'm buffering, at the moment I set those flags, and it makes more sense to me doing it this way, because what we do, if I back up here, we have this row. Why should I call it buff? But let's roll with it. So we have this row thing, and while we're reading char by char, we append to that row, which is useful because which is useful, right? Because we don't just write a line, we don't just process the whole line and then write that. We need to look at it with a fine comb, right? That's the best way to describe it without getting into too many details. And as we encounter certain patterns, we can refine how the line looks, right? So yeah, that's that in a nutshell. That's that. So you can see we don't have to. Sometimes, you know, we might encounter characters that that signify something special. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe a special sequence, whatever. And we need to further process that before we want to write. And maybe that takes many lines. Maybe we need to read many lines with a fine comb before we want to actually write what we have buffered. And because of that, the buffer will only be written to our result when this flag is set. So that's the point. We have control over when what we have been buffering gets written, and we can modify that buffer as we keep on reading, right? So perhaps a given line is redundant, right? Maybe it's we need to do something special to format it correctly, and so we want to have that level of control. Okay. So yeah, the problem we had, I went into a little tangent there. The problem we have is, well, we have two problems. First off, I don't know why it is adding this extra indentation here, but that was not happening a while ago, so I'm not entirely sure what broke it, but I have an idea. I'm going to test that idea right now. It's all of this. I betcha. It's this entire thing. Take that down there. Okay. So I believe it's this. I believe sort of the problem is somewhere around there. So let's put that to the test. And yeah. All right. So we have some idea of where to look. And it's going to be problematic. Now, what I'm going to do is show you the original file so you can see what the program is doing more clearly. Okay? Oops. Okay, so here's the file, right? It's just some nonsense, just to test that it does what I want it to do. So we have, you know, no indentation. This thing is just sitting there, right? And when we pass it to the program, you see, right? It breaks the line at the curly brace, right? And it adds indentation for labels, right? Tuk tuk tuk. So it sort of does what it needs to do, right? There are a few. It has a few kinks, right? Like you can see here. It doesn't know where to close this off, so it closes it. It puts it here. I would prefer it were here, but it's a minor thing. It's not quite as important. It doesn't bother me. I mean, this is perfectly readable, at least to me. So that's fine. Now, what we need to do is try to get to the bottom of why this block, which I obviously wait, which obviously I copied and pasted from the original implementation. We need to find out why this block is doing that, and I believe part of the problem has to do with the fact that from that block is this nifty little thing, this whole stripping, and then this. So I'm going to comment that out and see what happens. Okay, still happening. So it's not the stripping. Then what is it? It's the handling of comments. Could be. Oops. Let's try that. And okay. So just to be absolutely clear about this. Okay, alright. So I'm going to be absolutely honest. I have no idea why the way I'm handling the comments, the long line comments, is breaking things like that. But we can solve it. We can, yes we can. So let's do that. Okay, and I'm going to, oops. I should have done a multi-line comment, yeah. Same thing here. I'm sorry, I hate having white space on an empty line. Just drives me crazy. So because I'm stripping, I'm stripping the line, not me. Okay, so I need to, oh yeah, I can't just plus to a string, in place plus into a string. I need to add it like that. Okay, so something around this, it's causing some nasty issues on every single line. I'm going to work by elimination. Okay. Right, that still breaks everything. So it's not this. And yeah, I'm gonna do a multi-line here. Oops. Okay. So it's this block, apparently. The other one as well. Okay. So apparently this. Well, I can just delete that. Doesn't matter. Let's add a pass and. What's that? Nope, that's not it. I guess it's the line strip. That would be my guess. Okay, so forget about it. I'm not going to do that. So the way we're going to, how are we going to detect an empty line? The done, fixed. Right. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to me just removing that new line and then adding it back in. Nah, it doesn't make sense to me. So yeah. Okay, so now it prints out nothing. That's worse. That's even worse. Huh. I wonder what's up with this thing. have to give me a second here. I need to change the name of this. Okay, Avto-Fmat.Py. Okay. So this is really weird. This is really weird. Now it prints nothing. That's quite unique. That's quite unique. Oh, not okay. No, so it's not quite as unique. It was just a mistake on my part. Okay. Right, but it's adding extra, a little extra here. That shouldn't happen, and it's messing up. It's messing up my indentation as well. Oh, I'm sorry. Op Studio does weird things with my key bindings, and sometimes I swap between views and it doesn't register. I don't know why. Okay, so as you can see, now it prints something, but it's doing weird things here, right? Because this is definitely not right. And so because we've commented out this block, we know that the offender here is right here. So am I using this flag anywhere else? No, nowhere else. Okay. Okay, so it's adding new lines to result. Huh. What happens if I skip this? Absolutely nothing, probably. Ugh, get out of here. My god, significant white space is such a bad idea. Honestly. Would you rather have significant white space than having to would you rather have to deal with significant white space? Let me show you that again. This is a comment, right? This is a comment. But if the indentation on the comment is wrong, what? Are you joking? Unexpected indent because the indentation on a comment is wrong. That's just next level. Honestly, that's next level. What? You're still complaining about that? Oh, because right. See, yeah, it's what I said. Because of the indentation on the comment. Oh my god. You see that? I changed the indentation on a comment and that breaks the program. Does that make sense to you? It does not make sense. Guido van Rossum, I think that's the guy that is taunted Python. You're out of your fucking mind, Guido. You're out of your fucking mind. Sorry, you know, like I like the language, but terrible decision. All the way. True and true, a terrible decision. So, I believe I do not need this block. Because what it's doing is checking for an empty line and adding a new line if that empty line, if they are not consecutive, right? So it's okay for that, but it's also destroying my indentation. That doesn't make any sense, and it really shouldn't, or should it? And an L. I don't know. No, I don't think that setting and unsetting this flag should be causing this much trouble. Oh, I know. Probably I should append not to result. Right. I should not append to result at this level. I should append to row instead. Maybe? Let's try. Let's try this. Okay? No, it breaks it. It breaks it. And, okay. Let's make sure that it's the new line. Let's make sure. Hmm? Oh, I know. I know. Right. It's not adding the new line, it's the continue. That's what. Probably. Probably. So what I'm going to do is just else this. Okay. So the idea is that on consecutive runs of this block, you should not add additional new lines, right? So if you had a bunch of empty lines like this, it will honor the first one, and the other ones it will just ignore. That's the idea. Now, I'm not sure I really need this. I think I have a problem. I have a way to handle this already. So, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's just. We know that it's an empty line, right? It has nothing but a new line and some space. So let's just say the line is just a new line, and let's add nothing, and let the actual format code handle it, right? So let's do that. What? Oh, that's a semicolon. It should be a full colon. Okay. What? An expected indent. Ah, yeah, I need to tick. That's that. Okay, and now it works. Okay, good. Let's test that. Oops, sorry. Let's test that that it's swallowing these additional new lines. Okay, so let's try that. Yeah, kind of. Okay. Yeah, it did the thing. It did the thing. And I should put an. Wait. Let's do this properly, okay? Because it also did not write this last separator. So what we should do is right at the. I guess right here. Huh? What we should do is ensure that the very last thing is written. So, how do we do? Wait. I think because part of that is because I took out this block, if I remember correctly. Because this was ensuring that when you had that last comment that it would be written, but it was causing problems apparently. But let's try it now and see what happens. Okay, still causing problems, but now we do get this last one here. So why is this happening? This is just atrocious. Simply atrocious. Oh, no, 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 no. And it eats up new lines here and there. Yeah, this is really, really bad. So I'm going to comment this out again just to get a taste for what it is doing. And okay, right. Very, very strange. Very, very strange behavior. Because this is supposed to only affect this line and this line, but rather than doing that, is affecting every last line on the file. I would guess it's this. I would guess it is also this. So let's try just modifying the line itself and then letting the line code just read the line and verify that everything is okay, right? So let's try that. Okay, not what I expected. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. This thing here doesn't make sense. Okay, it indented kind of right here, but this indentation here is not right. Oh, I know. Right. I get it. I get it now. I get it now. Okay. Right. So this is what's going on. So we already have a right here. We already have a flag. This is for line comments and this one for box comments. We already have a way to symbolize that what we're currently reading is a comment and should not be processed the way code is being processed. But we're doing nothing with it. That's yeah. So that's what's going on. Okay, so it's not that bad. We can do state and set the lcom, which is line comment flag. We can set that, and what we need to do is how should we? Well, the thing is, with comments we care about two things. If it's a line comment, we care about a new line, right? Because it terminates at a new line. With a box or a multi-line comment, we care that when it encounters this thing, that it should end. Now we're dealing only with line comments, so the only thing we need to look for is a new line. So we need to change the set of characters. We need to change the set of characters that this if chain is looking for, right? That's what we need to do. And so we would need to skip this section and go right into here. Now, if only there was a construct, a well-known construct for skipping ahead in your program, which we could use, right? If only there was a construct for skipping ahead in execution, right? If only we had something like that. I'm only going to zoom in, and it's just this is completely unrelated. If only we had such a thing to, like, do jumps, right? Do jumps within our program. If only we had that. Yeah, that's my rant for the day. I love goto. Okay, goto has, just like object-oriented programming, you can do very crappy code with object-oriented, very crappy code with object-oriented, with functional, procedural, whatever, whatever. Even if you can even write bad data-oriented code. Okay, you can do. No, it doesn't matter the way you think. It matters what you actually do with your thoughts, right? But the thing is, go to, man. Jump ahead, jump backwards, go where you want to. You take that away, and now the only way we can achieve the exact same functionality is with if. Okay. So, the thing is, we need to skip a section of code if certain conditions are met. That, or we could extend these conditions, right? And so we do not care about any of these if we're reading a comment. But that's just problematic. So what I'm going to do, and I realize this might be a bad idea, but fuck it. What I'm going to do, let's just put an elif there, or else if, whatever. And what I'm going to do is just check for the comment flag. Well, yeah. Someone is you cannot hear them, but someone is pointing out to me. Someone is pointing out to me out there in the void that you don't just have if, you also have functions. Yes. But the problem is I would need to pass things around, right? So this is already a function, right? And I like making things self-contained. I will write a function if it's a block of code that's reusable, right? I want that block to be reusable, and so I will utilize, right? If I want the code to be reusable, then I will do I will make a function out of it. Else, it's it's what's the point if it's just to sort of shorten one thing or to basically achieve goto? Nah, no, that's a bad idea. And it's not even going to be real goto. Goto is label jump goto label. That's that. It is something that should be in the language. I don't see why every language should have goto. Every language should have jumps. Every language should have unconditional jump to label. It's a basic. It's one of the most basic things. Why wouldn't you have that? I mean, it's disrespect. Let me phrase it this way. Not having unconditional jumps in a language is an insult to programming itself. Not an insult to the programmers, an insult to programming itself. That's what I'm going to say. If someone wants to debate me on that, you're a loser, okay? Basis. So, how long have I been I've been recording for over an hour, okay. So let's try and fix this real quick and close off the episode because I'm getting tired and I actually need to go out. Bummer, I know, but I actually need to go out for a second. So let's finish this episode. And what I'm going to do is if I have this, then I just don't care. Right. If it's a comment, then I just don't care. Pass. Okay, let's try that. That was not that difficult. Okay, I don't think it's going to work, but let's at least try it, right? And no output. Okay, that's not what I was expecting. Right, so oh, here it is. Okay. Yes, so I should move this block here somewhere else. Actually, I should move it. Right. And I should check that C is a new line. Yeah. C is the current character and NX is the next character. Very creative. Yeah. Alright, so this is... So I would still leave this thing in because this will allow us within a line. Suppose you have some code here and then you have some comment. And actually you don't have to terminate that. What this will do is when we're at this point, or no, right at this point, we will be able to know that what comes next is a comment, and so it will set the appropriate flag. So actually it makes sense to leave that thing here, but this would be setting the comment flags. This one is unsetting the flags, so I would have to move it. But because we don't have multi-line comments yet, I'll just leave it there and leave me a note here to do move to comment handle block. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there, and what I'm going to do, I don't remember what this does, but it's something about not adding some additional new lines or something. Okay, right, so what we're going to do is just on our comment handle, where was it? Here, on our currently useless clause, Fmat, and this is going to be handle. Oh, handle line comments. So what I'm going to do is just check that C is a new line. And then unset. Okay, so that's not it was not that difficult. Okay, all right, yeah, that's good enough. Huh, what else? I suppose I should set the right flag. The right and new line flag, yeah. And the indent flag, I'm not sure. Huh. Well, let's try it anyway. Okay, that's broken. Oh, yeah, my bad. It's supposed to be inside the if, right? Because this is only when we're terminating the comment, not on every single character that's on a comment. Yeah. Okay. So let's see it now. And all right, broken. Broken. Okay. Wonder why. Oops. I just want to. Okay. That's interesting. let's bring the row at this point, and yeah, caveman debugging all the way. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so it's I mean, this is not wrong, not entirely at least. Only this indentation here, but this is coming not from the. This is not coming from the comment code. This is actually something that happens over here. Whenever it initializes a new row, it puts in the indent, right? So I actually need to fix that. Because if the last thing is a line comment, then we do not want to initialize the row like that, right? So you stop. What I should do, probably let me think about it for a second. Well, if the row is not terminated, then so I'm gonna do the thing like this. Actually, I'm gonna do it over here. If length of row and length of row, because I don't think I can do this in a single line, right? Because if I do it like this, I'm pretty sure it's going to throw me an error when row is empty. Pretty sure it's going to do that, but let's try. It's probably going to be an index error, but I don't know. Maybe Python is smart enough to know what I'm trying to do. So let's try it. Let's say that if row -1 is not a new line, then we want to add that in, and that will basically nullify that empty indentation. And then I guess we can clear that up ourselves. So let's add a new line when there is none, and let's see if that does something. Okay, right. So it adds an empty line, but we can handle that like. We can handle that at some other point, because it's one of those things that doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'm not worried about it. Okay. All right. Now let's restore that and get rid of this, because it's not doing anything too weird. But it's doing this thing here. So the rule is, and this is just the way I thought it would be easier to handle labels, is that it looks at the first semicolon after a colon and says, okay, that's all you get. That's all you get to write right after a label. And then it puts the new line and it indents, right? So it likes to do that. I prefer formatting it like that. So it's adding that new line and indentation here, but that means this line is not when this line is being read, it's not considered a comment, which is wrong. So let's actually fix that. Right. Why else would it be? It's not in the clause, obviously. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yes, it is in the clause. Then why? Why? What's going on? Oh, I know, right. right. Because I'm right. I'm putting that that additional bit as part of the line, so that obviously that's not going to work, right? That is definitely not going to work. So what we need to do is try and handle that. There's two ways. There's two ways we could do. We could generate um, that additional thing right then and there, but I wouldn't like that so much. So we kind of have that. Find a way to detect it. I wonder why. Wonder why it's not reading it. Like right here. Let me check real quick. Do some more caveman debugging here. I'm going to print line and then the row. Okay. I do most of my debugging like this, because it's if it's a minor thing, you know, I'm not going to. Okay, so it is entering. It is entering here apparently. Oh no, it is not. Well, that's a problem. I mean, if I'm debugging something as simple as this, I'm not going to be pulling out any super fancy tools, right? Okay, so we need to first off, I'm going to disable this here, and at the top I'm gonna have to register line by line, I guess. Yeah, that's okay. No, register the line. Wait up. Wait, no. I think I have an idea. Because it's probably when it enters here, I'm fairly certain that when it comes into here, it sort of does a, how do you say, a skip, so to speak. Oh, no, wait. I have an even better idea. and J equals, okay. Because if that new line is there, then we don't really have to add this. Well, we do and we don't. But if that new line is there, that means the comment is ending, but it might not be the last thing on the line. And if this line is already registered as being a comment, then we know that it is a line comment, okay? That's the trick. So there will only be comments within this line, okay? With this line that is actually being broken up into multiple ones. So it's not very intuitive, but you know, bear with the poor nomenclature here. We need to check that this counter J is that it is in fact the last one, and then we will know this is the comment closer. This is the actual comment closer. Okay, so yeah, and let me check that I'm actually increasing this, and yes I am. And let's give it a spin, and oh yeah, I have to re-enable the printing. Okay, good, let's try, and voila. Okay, good. All right, so we fixed a bunch. Oh, again with the, oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Sometimes the I have key bindings to switch between scenes, and sometimes it doesn't happen. I don't know why. Okay, so all right, so it's fixed in a sense. Okay, so now it adds this additional tag thingy here, and everything sort of works. Okay, it's not messing up or indentation anymore. Okay, so cool, right? Comments are now being read as just comments, right? So no processing. That's okay. That's good. Next up, I guess we'll work on multi-line comments, and perhaps. Oh yeah, right. And we have one more edge case to work with, and which would be a comment that's not the first thing on the line. So, right when the comment starts here, we're going to handle that separately, because it is a different case. It is a different case. So yeah. But we'll be doing that next up, and I already have some code written for it. I already have all the code written for it. I just need to adapt it to this new system that we have. So yeah, that's good. That's good. Oh wait, there's one more thing I should do. And here is another mistake. Ooh, this is bad. Okay. So this thing should be here actually. And this thing should be over here. Okay, alright, so but you know, it's minor, it's a minor thing. It's something wrong with the indentation, but I can fix that later. The bigger bug is fixed, so that's good enough for now. So alright, let's back up, and oh no, actually I'm going to sign off. So yeah, let's just clear this. So yeah, okay. Thanks for watching. Next up, we'll be looking at those things as said we'll be looking at, and so yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.